Good evening. Um, I'm going to jump right in. um, I want to go over something in detail. First of all, let me say good evening to everyone. Um, and let me also say that I hope that you all had a beautiful day today. Very, very lovely day as it was today. Um, but we're going to jump right in here. I don't want to take too much time. And I hope that we can get through this relatively quickly. Again, this is a weeknight, so I don't want to take up too much time. So, again, I'm going to jump right in. First of all, good evening. Hello to everyone. And let me just state really quickly. Okay. Um, so, apparently, a lot of people understood what we covered last night. And even though people understood what we covered last night, um, there's still questions pertaining to what actually occurred in the General Assembly and how is it that they, meaning the General Assembly Secretary and the General Council, individuals on the council, how is it that they controlled, um, took over? I use the term um, they, one second, hijack. I use the term hijack. And right now, whenever I'm rushing, I tend to not think on point. So let me just slow down a bit. Just like I did last night, I'm going to take my time to make sure that you actually understand every single thing that I'm saying. I want to make sure that everybody understands clearly what it is that I'm saying. So, tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the actual General Assembly of 2022, 2024, I'm sorry, 2023, and 2024. For those of you who already heard some details pertaining to the General Assembly itself, then um, you might hear a little bit of the same information. However, I'm going to actually read through individuals' minutes so that you can have a picture and a visualization of actually what happened inside of the General Assembly. Um, in 2023, I was there, so I will give a little commentary and I will also explain what was going on that other people actually wrote about. Then I'm going to go into 2024. So this way, you will actually see how all these things work together. And by all these things, I literally mean these constitutions, how they work together uh, with the General Assembly. Okay. So, with that said, we're only under one constitution, only one. Once a constitution has been amended, then that constitution takes the place of any previous constitution. So the early constitutions that have been amended by the various leaders of the organization and their constitutional revision committee, whenever a new constitution comes forward, and it is said that it's amended, then the old one gets put to the side. Okay. And what took place here was back to back, we saw a constitution replacing 2009, and then another one replacing 2022, and then another one replacing 2023. So let's get into what actually happened inside of the General Assembly. Everyone needs to understand the Constitution. Everybody needs to understand the importance of this book. This book is the book that is on record with the government officials, for them to be able to enforce the rules inside of this book. Now, what we covered last night shows that for each and every amended constitution, what we're looking at is the things that's put in here is not done by the people. The the paperwork, the documentation, the procedures, the amended copies that were already pre-printed, everything shows that the people were not a part of this process. Now, again, we have outside regulating agencies coming in. We're waiting for them to make the determination to come in so that they can confirm what I'm saying and let everybody know whether or not I'm accurate in the things that I'm saying or whether or not I'm wrong. Okay. So every year we have a General Assembly, every single year. Now, there's a question. Don't you use the old Constitution as a reference to the present one for guidelines? No. The only purpose of the old Constitution is for us to see what the law used to be and what change was made and what the law became. So this, remember, is an amended Constitution in 2009. This Constitution, every single one of these has Mr. A.D. Cunningham's name in them. So this is not my signature in these books. Mr. A.D. Cunningham signed all these books, and he signed it in order to verify and confirm that these books were legitimately put together with amended rules that became laws in the Constitution. And he said that the members of the General Assembly voted on these proposals and approved them to be added to the Constitution. I'm going to show you tonight that that is not the case. Okay, which means that this is again fraudulent. It means that this is fraudulent, and this is fraudulent. So y'all going to see me over and over and over again refer to the Constitution because every single member of the organization needs to understand what's in this book. This is the most important document in here, which is why people don't refer to it. In order to get over on us, the members, they need the people to not know what's in this book. They need the people to not understand what's in this book. They need the people to not care about what's in this book. So with that in mind, let me show you how we got here. The General Assembly, every single year, when the General Assembly is coming forward, we need to understand that it is the most important meeting in the organization. Again, I said last night, I say again tonight, there are no time limits and there are not supposed to be any time restraints in the General Assembly. But tonight, for those of you who still don't understand the process, for those of you who still this is someone watching now. Okay. So for those of you who still don't understand the process, that's what tonight is for. This is going to clean it up for everybody. And for those of you who understand what I've covered already, this will allow you to understand even more so that you can explain this information to other people in conversation to help others understand as well what happened and what took place. Um, so, the most important meeting of the year, everyone needs to understand. So, when you get to the General Assembly, I'm going to go ahead and read through 2022 minutes, and I'm going to explain certain things along the way. Again, we're going to read through 22, 23, and 24. Uh, um, General Assembly, Friday, May 27th, 2022. First of all, it is always a joy to be found in the house of prayer, especially, I'm going to read it exactly as the person wrote it, especially when dad is present. It was an honor to be there for these events. Although I took many detailed notes and retained many observations, I will only review some of the points that stood out to me, as I knew that the other delegate would have all those details available in their report. As to not be redundant, I will abbreviate my report and keep it as objective as possible. Now, with the opening, you will see that they're excited to be there. Everyone going to the General Assembly, the pastors make sure that the people are thrilled. This is the most important meeting of the year, and this is true. This is an honor to be there. It's an honor to be able to serve in this capacity. That one, they make it sound like an honor because they want the individuals that's going to feel privileged. Because they say, you are going to be in the company of the man of God. Um, so there is a certain time you're supposed to arrive. And again, let's get back to the minutes. The time that you're supposed to arrive is at 9 o'clock for orientation. But let's see if any of the events of the orientation are in any of the minutes. Friday, 5/27/2022, at 11:51 a.m. at the United House of Prayer, 601 Elm Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., Apostle Cunningham, senior minister and General Assembly secretary, made a few housekeeping type announcements. First of all, things did not get started until 11:51 a.m. But the members all around the organization are told to be there at 9 a.m. for orientation. Orientation is the segment of the General Assembly where the people arriving who are delegates, they come into the room so that they can be told what your role is, what your responsibilities and obligations to the congregation that you represent are. In the orientation, those individual delegates who have never been to the General Assembly before are the ones who are made aware of the procedures, of the process, of exactly what parliamentary procedure is, how you put a motion on the floor, how you present an idea, how you go about getting the attention of the individual who's overseeing so that they can call on you. The orientation is to orient everyone as to how to conduct yourselves as well as speak inside the General Assembly Because remember, the General Assembly is being conducted according to parliamentary procedure based on a book called Robert's Rules of Order. Now, with that said, everything in that book tells you how the General Assembly is supposed to be run. It tells you everything intricately. Now, they said to be there at 9 o'clock for orientation. So far in the minutes, there was no orientation, and there's nothing said about it. So, again, I'm going to read through, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the schedule. Mr. Cunningham made a few housekeeping type announcements. Now, this included instructions not to use an electric recording device, but that we are to report back to our congregations the events of the weekend, which is why I'm before you at this time. Apostle Cunningham then introduced Apostle Howe. Let me explain this part to you. They don't want electronic recording devices because they do not want people to hear their voices. If you write and read what you wrote, then it can be said, no, you made a mistake. That's not what we said. But if we have recording devices where the members can record and take back to the members of their congregations and let them hear the recordings, well, then there'd be no doubt about the events of that day. Everybody would hear for themselves what happened. There'd be no question. So a recording would be the safest way to go, but they don't want that because they don't want people to witness the events of the General Assembly. They want people to write down and report what they wrote. Even with that said, at 11:51, this is going on 12 o'clock, 9 minutes before 12. So the people were expected to be there at 9 o'clock, 10, 11, 12. 3 hours later, now it gets up to start making announcements. Keep this in mind. We're going to talk about this in a minute. And he introduced Apostle Howe. Apostle Howe comes forward. Honors were given to Addie Bailey. Hymn was sung, He Walks With Me, by Apostle Perry. Scripture that was read, Deuteronomy 7:6, by Elder Monroe. Prayer by Apostle Leverett. At 12:16, all of that took 20 minutes. Roll call for representatives and pastors began and registration was closed. Now, we're told to be there at 9 o'clock for orientation, but apparently there's no orientation. And people were there now for 3 hours. So why so early? Well, they want the people there early so that they can, again, say that, well, we're registering people. And as you come in, take your seat and sit back and wait. They want the people to wait. They want them to wait. And they want them to wait some more. Okay? Now, you're going to understand the mentality behind this in a moment. So, the roll call, I'm sorry, this is absolutely insane. The roll call for representatives and pastors began and registration was closed at 12:16 p.m., 3 hours, 16 minutes after you're told to arrive. Okay. This was followed by a roll call for credentialed elders. Okay. The roll call for the delegates, that was one roll. And then there was a portion of the roll call that's only for the elders that have credentials. Several were absent. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment. When they do the roll call, let me take you to the Constitution. It says here in the Constitution, um, Article 5, the General Assembly, Section 1, there shall be held annually a General Assembly meeting of this organization. The General Assembly shall be composed of the bishop, ministers, apostles, and elders, 2 elected representatives from each congregation. Now, in here it says with credentials, but this is another change that was made because elders, period, are supposed to be in the General Assembly. You don't need a credential, but they changed that because it lessens the number of people who are attending. And in the event that votes come up, it gives the men in the front a slighter edge over the people. The less people, the more of an edge the men in the front, the council and whoever, has over the people. The more the people, the less the edge that the council has over the people. Okay. But it says that the General Assembly shall be composed of the bishop, the ministers, apostles, elders with credentials, 2 elected representatives. Now, if the bishop is a part of the composition, if the General Assembly is composed of the bishop, then that means if he's a part of the General Assembly, then that means he's supposed to be there when the people are there. Let me say that again. He's supposed to be there when the people are there. Let me read this again. The roll call was taken at 12:16. And 2:02, 2 o'clock, 2 minutes after 2 o'clock p.m., the bishop arrived. Okay? Now, 9 o'clock arrived, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock. So some people there at 9 in the morning, some people got there earlier, so they got breakfast. But 5 hours later, the CEO arrives. Now, here's their problem. When they call the roll, the CEO, his name is not called. The CEO name's supposed to be on the roll because the General Assembly is composed of the bishop, the apostles, the elders, and 2 elected representatives. That means you're a part of the General Assembly. So if you're a part of the General Assembly, then why is it that the CEO, the bishop's name is not on roll? Why is it that when they call the roll, the General Assembly secretary and whoever else is there on that General Council, why do they never ever make it a point to draw attention to the fact that the CEO is absent? Anybody else, if they call your name is on the roll. If they call your name and you're not there to say present, they mark your name. And when they mark your name, you're marked as absent, and there may be a penalty. There might be something done to bring to the attention of everyone in the room that you were late or absent, not on time, or whatever the case may be. I've seen individuals fined $25, $50, $100 even. My point is the CEO, the bishop, is not held to the same standard. And the General Assembly Secretary is not holding him to the same standard. The General Counsel is not raising an issue at all about the General Assembly Secretary not holding him to the same standard, because all of them are working together to protect the CEO. So no one says anything about the fact that his name is not on the roll. Nobody says anything. If you're a part of this meeting, your name is supposed to be on the roll. And when we have roll call, your name is supposed to be called, and you are supposed to be answering to let it be known that you're present and you're in the building. If you are not present and your name is called, you are supposed to be marked as absent. And when the roll call is finished, every single one of y'all that have a meeting in your auxiliaries, bands, choirs, willing workers, queens, elders, ushers, maids, it doesn't matter what your position is, guards. Every time y'all have a meeting, y'all don't leave nobody's name off of the roll. The president's name is on that roll. If there's a band leader, their name is on the roll. If there's a choir director, their name is on the roll. No one is exempt from the roll call. But this person's name is not on the roll. And not only is he allowed to not be there to answer the roll call, but after roll call, everything stops. We have an intermission and nothing is done. Nothing happens. All of you that have meetings in your auxiliaries, how many times have y'all ever had a meeting and then after the roll call, you have an intermission and you wait for an hour and a half sitting there in the meeting? Don't do anything. You just keep waiting for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours for one more person to arrive before you get started. This is not supposed to be. If you're not there to answer the roll call, the meeting is supposed to continue without you. Y'all remember the saying, one monkey does not stop the show, right? Well, one person absent, two people absent, doesn't matter. If you're absent, you're absent. You're supposed to have the meeting without them. Period, point blank, end of story. But the General Assembly Secretary's job is to stall. Let's talk about a few things. We are grateful that everybody is here. We're going to have a beautiful time today. We're glad that you all made it safe and sound. Y'all remember Charlie Brown, blah, blah, blah. Instead of blah, 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 wah, 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 wah. And that's done to waste time, to make it seem as if something's being done, to cater to your attention span and just keep things moving along. But for all of you who's been to the General Assembly, you see people knocked out. You know why? Because nothing's going on and they're just waiting. We're going to come back to that in a moment. But again, he arrived at 2:02 p.m. Then the General Assembly Secretary, Mr. Cunningham, gave a summary of all that had taken place prior to his arrival. He gave a summary. Your Honor Supreme, this is what we did, this is what we did, and at this time, blah, 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 we did this, we did this. Wait. What meeting have we ever seen where somebody gets to walk in whenever they feel like it while everybody's waiting, and then it does not start until they get there? And then while they're sitting there after they take their seat, whoever's chairing the meeting gives them an update to catch them up on everything that was done before their arrival up until roll call, because no other business is going to get done until that person arrives. For those of you who understand, this is way out of line, way out of line. And I'm showing you that all these things are done to cater to the bishop because he's exempt from following the rules. The General Assembly Secretary and the General Counsel and these pastors, they keep him exempt from following the rules. He's not held to the same standard. He's not held accountable to any of the rules or the regulations of the organization or even outside the laws of the land. Not by these men holding positions in here. So look at what happened. Mr. Cunningham gave him a summary, and Mr. Bailey asked if there were any houses without representation. Is there anybody, any houses here that don't have representative? Here's a problem with that question. You're the CEO. And when the roll call was called, at that very time, the entire organization as a whole did not have the CEO present. Therefore, the organization did not have a CEO representing. So while other people are being held accountable so that they can find them and collect money from people around the organization, here's your first example, once again, during the meeting of the CEO being protected. He's asking if anybody else committed a violation while you're already under violation. The answer was positive, they said. Mr. Bailey responded, that should only be those with less than 15 members. And those houses should be under missionary status, meaning the only house of prayer that does not have representation inside the General Assembly should be those congregations that has less than 15 people. Blanche says, it seems like all this is for formalities and show, and no one couldn't say it wasn't done. I think that the CEO was in Paradise Kitchen as usual. Well, the CEO is a lot of times still at Portal Drive, just doing whatever, kicking back, eating, getting dressed, or whatever, because they know that the council and the General Assembly Secretary is going to keep everything on pause until he gets there. All of that is a violation. Sounds like they weren't having a general meeting. They were having a social gathering without music or preaching. Exactly. Absolutely. It's a fashion show. Absolutely. Let's spread the word by hitting the like button. Thank you. But it's a fashion show. People come from all over the country to attend a meeting that really is just for show. There is no meeting. But all these houses and the delegates got to jump through all these hoops, go through all this red tape, getting plane tickets, train tickets, gas money, putting in time off of their job, vacation time at that, to travel cross country for some people, to drive 4, 5, 6 states for other people, to be there Friday morning, or else they're going to be fined or sat down from their position, only to sit here and do nothing except answer a roll call and hear announcements about it's good to be here. You are blessed, highly favored today. You're going to be in the company of this great man of God who's doing a fine work, and we're pleased and we're proud of him, blah, 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 blah. While absolutely Zero business is being done, knowing that it's all a sham. There were several congregations that only had one representative. And Mr. Bailey said, this must be investigated. One second. Mr. Bailey said this must be investigated. And a report needs to be given to him by the end of the year. That is a distraction to give the impression to the members of the organization that I'm doing my job. I'm working hard for this organization. I'm going to make sure that everybody does their part. This is the most important meeting of the year, and you need to be here. You need to take it seriously. This, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. That's all it's ever been. The General Assembly has been a farce. We've been duped, we've been conned, we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled, we've been tricked, we've been deceived. And all that talking, jumping on other members. Apostle Cunningham voted back in as the General Assembly Secretary and Apostle Thompson as the Assistant General Assembly Secretary for 2022, 2023. That vote was not carried out by the members. Whenever they have that portion of the General Assembly, the people are supposed to nominate and vote someone in as the General Assembly Secretary. But that's not what happens. The General Council, they vote. They say General Council only. And we sit there and watch them put whoever they want or whoever's been given the green light that person, they will go ahead and put there in the position of the General Assembly Secretary, because that's the one who's going to maneuver things. It says Mr. Bailey spoke about the proposed amendments, stating that every so many years there should be a review to ensure we're in line with state and federal guidelines and or to make improvements. Mr. Bailey also stated that 8 or 9 months ago, a group of 4 people made selections for review. They are the head judge of the United House of Prayer, Apostle Cunningham, New England Chairman, Apostle Jones of New York Mother House, attorney, Sister Mickey Bailey, and Judge Cuthbert of Savannah, Georgia. Sister M. Bailey read the proposed changes. Mr. Bailey stopped her to add his experience and wisdom to Article 2, Section 1D. Mr. Bailey stated to be careful who you make a deacon. It should be done according to the rules and the scripture. I'm going to just read through the rest of the minutes and then I'm going to come back and comment. It should be done according to the rules and the scripture. Mr. Bailey said, don't do it for personal reasons. He said when he was a pastor, he was slow about making one a deacon. Apostle R. Sudler, pastor of Dallas, Texas, approached the microphone and stated his title, name, and house. He said that no one had the nerve to speak up about pastors not having brought up these points and explaining the proposals before the day. He said that he had a meeting with his house, but many did not. Mr. Bailey asked him about his meeting, and he said that some of his new members did not understand everything. Mr. Bailey said to the apostle that he could not speak for other houses. The apostle took his seat. Mr. Bailey stated that these proposals were not to be taken lightly. He said that every pastor was to have already had a meeting with their congregation because every member should be part of this process. Mr. Bailey said that every pastor who did not do this is in jeopardy. Then the pastor from New Haven, Connecticut approached the mic, explaining that he did not have a meeting, but had spoken to his chairman beforehand. Mr. Bailey said this will not be tolerated. Then Mr. Bailey asked if there was anyone who didn't do what they were supposed to do. Several voices answered and stated no. Mr. Bailey also said, my members would tell me, and many voices said yes. Then Apostle Cunningham suggested no other pastors come up about that matter for time's sake. Mr. Bailey said he wants a report concerning this. Again, we're going to come back. After comparing this packet last night to the most previously amended dated May 2009 Constitution and bylaws, I noted the following changes and additions were made already. And went down through the list of all the changes. While votes were tallied, an announcement was made that May 23rd, 2023, next year, the following year, will be Mr. Bailey's 15th anniversary, and the theme will be Addie Bailey, repairer of the bridge. Well over 2/3 majority voted in favor of proposed changes. Benediction was held at 3:48 by Apostle Howe, and that concluded the General Assembly for 2022. And let me go back and give you some comments on what happened. Where it says, Mr. Bailey spoke about the proposed amendments, stating that every so many years there should be a review to ensure we're in line with state and federal guidelines. Right there, he said what I've been saying all along. The organization is supposed to be in line with state and federal guidelines. The leader said so. He said every once in a while we need to be brushing up on the Constitution. Now, the problem is he was setting the people up for the okie doke because he knew that they, Mr. Cunningham and company, had already changed the Constitution. So he has Mickey Bailey, his daughter, the lawyer, inside the General Assembly, which is unlawful. She's not supposed to be there if she's not a delegate. So why was she allowed inside? Because Mr. Bailey was violating the laws again and doing whatever he feel like. But the General Assembly Secretary and the General Counsel all permitted it, and none of the pastors raised a concern whatsoever. And so when you go in and continue, he says that for 8 to 9 months ago, 4 people made selections for review. Now they're saying review. Sister Bailey read the proposed changes. The proposed changes. Mr. Bailey stopped her to add some comments. And here he talked about be careful who you make a deacon. It should be done according to the rules and the scripture. Well, what rules are we talking about? If you're going to follow the rules to make a deacon, well, what about all the other rules? He said, don't do it for personal reasons. You don't make a man a deacon because you have personal reasons. He said when he was a pastor, he was slow about making a deacon. When I was a pastor, I did this, I did this. Who cares? This is not even something that should be a part of the General Assembly. The General Assembly is supposed to be talking about the Constitution. But yet certain things are being permitted into the General Assembly to be discussed. And now you have the leader talking about making men deacons. It has nothing to do with the General Assembly. When Mr. Sutler got up, he got up to let it be known that pastors did not have their meetings. As soon as it became knowledgeable, as soon as the cat was out the bag, as soon as they understood that the members had not talked about this packet full of proposals, as soon as that became crystal clear, it should have been sat down. It should have been pushed aside. They're not supposed to move forward if you hear that there's a group of people that never even heard about these so-called proposals and they never had the opportunity to discuss them or vote on them. It's now out of order. What should have happened, what was supposed to happen, according to parliamentary procedure, especially Robert's Rules of Order, is the General Assembly Secretary, whose job is to keep everybody else in line with the law and the procedures. He should have immediately moved and put a motion on the floor or asked for one to postpone these recommendations until the following year, giving them the opportunity to be put out into the congregations for them to read one at a time, for them to learn one at a time, and for them to carry out exercises that would allow the vote. So when the people got done talking about each proposal, they should have voted on it, but that did not happen. And as soon as the General Assembly Secretary knew that, he was supposed to put it aside. But he couldn't do that because he knew that all of those amendments, every single one of those 46 to 49 changes were already inside the Constitution. They were there. This was the one from 2022. Now, we just read that Mr. Bailey arrived at 2:02. And then what we read is that it was over by 3:48. 3:48. This is 1 hour and 45 minutes. So if we take away the other conversation, let's say that everything else took 30 to 45 minutes. You mean to tell me for 1 hour, the people had the time to talk about 46 changes one at a time to the Constitution and then vote on it? They did all of that within 1 hour? Of course not. This whole thing was illegitimate. And therefore, once again, we know that the Constitution, because of that, is fraudulent. And we're waiting for people to come to confirm this. Let me move to show you the minutes from 2023. Because they got away with this in 2022, no one raised this concern. Well, we came to bring this up in 2023. 1 second. (2023). I'm gonna kind of speed up. General Assembly 2023. First of all, it was an honor to be there for these events. Although I took many detailed notes. Oh, these are what I just read. Okay. Friday, May 26, 2023. 12:01 p.m., 601 M Street. Apostle Cunningham, Senior Minister and General Assembly Secretary, made a few housekeeping type announcements. Okay. Made a few housekeeping type announcements, same as last year. This included the explanation of roll call and that the doors are now closed and anyone not here must go downstairs to the lower court. Now, he made the announcement that anybody who's not there for roll cannot come in. They have to go down to the lower court and report to them to let them know that they missed the roll call. And now they're going to be put in a line. Their names are going to be put on a list, and it's going to be read out loud to the CEO when he arrives. And this is a form of embarrassment and humiliation. And these individuals are going to have to give one by one excuses and reasons why they weren't there for roll call, and they might end up being fined. Problem here is the CEO doesn't have to worry about that. He's never going to be late, no matter how late he gets there. He's never going to be fined, no matter what his reason is for not being there on time. Again, this is the protections being afforded to him by the General Assembly Secretary and the General Counsel. The General Assembly was opened by giving honor to Mr. Bailey, the singing of "It Is Well With My Soul," the reading of Hebrews 12:23 through 26, and prayer. Roll call was completed for representatives and pastors at 12:50. Roll call for credentialed elders was completed at 1:04. Now, again, from 9 o'clock to 1:04, 10, 11, 12, 1, you're looking at 4 hours wait time. I'm going to talk about that too. Come back to that. At 1:15, Mr. Bailey arrived. Apostle Cunningham thanked and congratulated him for his 15th year anniversary. Mr. Bailey says it has been his honor to be the leader of God's people. Mr. Bailey also said that he is not a coward and he's not afraid to speak. He said that he stands fast and does not complain, even if we do not understand, because people also did not understand. Drink my blood and eat my flesh. Apostle Cunningham updated Mr. Bailey about what took place prior to his arrival. He stated that orientation was at 9 a.m. and registration began at 10. Now, again, as I said before, he's supposed to be late. But you're seeing, again, the second year, no comments, nothing is done, nothing whatsoever. There were 7 new pastors awaiting to come into the General Assembly without credentials. They were each brought in as called. Mr. Bailey accepted the new pastors and thanked them. Mr. Bailey instructed everyone to clap their hands, and he instructed the General Assembly clerk to give them their letters within this meeting. Mr. Cunningham stated that there were 3 pastors who did not bring their credentials. One elder did not bring his credential and arrived late to the General Assembly. The 3 pastors paid their fines of $150 each and were released to enter the General Assembly. $150 fine. The elder who arrived late to the General Assembly and did not have his credential was fined $50 for lateness and $150 for being without the credential. $200. He paid the 50, but not the 150. Mr. Bailey gave him 7 days from that day to pay the 150 or no longer have a credential, but a letter instead. The elder verbalized understanding, and he was released to enter into the General Assembly. See, all of this is hypocrisy because you're holding other people accountable to laws and rules, but you're not holding yourself accountable. You're judging other people, but you're not allowing yourself to be judged. That's hypocrisy. And you're telling other people that they need to do things that you don't have to do. And it's not just him. This is all over the organization. We have to see these things for what they are. Let me continue. Apostle Cunningham reported General Assembly attendance. Mr. Bailey wants an investigation concerning the pastors and elders who were not present at the General Assembly. The report is to be brought forth during convocation, the same as last year. An apostle made a motion for the 2022 General Assembly minutes to be waived. Here we go. Mr. Bailey corrected the apostle, stating that the motion should be waived, should be to waive the 2022 General Assembly minutes, except for the opening and the closing. The apostle made the correction. Another apostle seconded the motion. The majority agreed and one opposed the waiving of the minutes. The brother who opposed was asked to stand and state his objection. He wanted to hear the portion of the minutes surrounding the proposals from 2022. Apostle Cunningham stated that there were no proposals in 2022. Question, were these pastors and chairmen that were fined? We don't have those names written here, but it could be any of the men that had credentials. I don't think that it's any of the councilmen. I don't think so. Councilmen are not typically held to these standards. If they're held openly, then behind closed doors, they're not made to pay these fines. They might say it in front of the people, but they're not made to pay the fines. I shouldn't say that unless I have proof. So I'm telling you all something that I cannot prove. However, let's continue. He wanted to hear the portion of the minutes surrounding the proposals from last year. Apostle Cunningham stated there were no proposals in 2022, and he was correct. There were no proposals in 2022 because they were already inside the book. But you heard me read the minutes of 2022, and in that year's General Assembly, they gave the impression to the people that y'all are here to vote on proposals. But fast forward to 2023, Mr. Cunningham is let the cat out of the bag. There weren't no proposals last year. And this is why you don't see the people did not see a constitution that had not been changed. So getting back to 2023, he said that there were none. And then he went on to say that stated that the brothers should have heard the minutes during the meeting. Okay, so it wasn't said in these minutes. Let me come to these minutes. The secretary stated that we needed a motion to waive the reading of the previous minutes, to which one of the apostles came forward to give the motion and get a second to the motion. When the secretary saw that I opposed and it was brought to the Supreme's attention, Mr. Bailey asked what was my reason for opposing. These are my minutes. He further asked if I wanted to hear all of the minutes. I stated no, sir. He asked what it was I wanted to hear. I stood at my seat and stated that I wanted to hear the portion of the minutes regarding the proposals from last year, leading up to the vote that was held to pass them into law. The secretary told the House, Mr. Cunningham, told the House and Mr. Bailey that my desire was, told him what my desire was, but then further stated that the minutes had already been read, but I was not present, and that they read them in the houses also. So there was not a need to read it again. And if I had a question, I could have asked them about it had I been there. The Supreme stated that if they already read the minutes and I wasn't there to hear them, then I was the one that was not responsible enough to make sure I was there to hear the minutes. And because of my irresponsibility, when everyone has a chance to be there, that my request would not be entertained. I was then instructed by the Supreme to take my seat. Now, whenever there's a motion to waive the minutes, then you're asking the people, do y'all want the minutes waived? If the people say yes, good, no problem. But if one person says no, I want to hear the minutes, you must read the minutes. Period. There is no what's the problem? No. You just put a motion on the floor. Does everybody want to waive the minutes? Yay. Are there any opposed? Yes. Okay. What part do you want read? I want to hear that. Okay, well, go ahead and get it, turn to it. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, Mr. Cunningham, for all of the individuals that were there in 2023, he made up an excuse to try to throw my desire to hear the minutes off to the side for everybody that was present. He knew that they were supposed to read it, but he could not let that happen because he also knew that Lewis is sniffing something out and he's about to let everybody in the organization know. So he came up with a bogus reason and said the minutes were already read, but he was not there. And besides that, they were read in all the houses, and he was not there. The problem is they read the minutes in council the night before. Mr. Bailey knew that. Mr. Cunningham knew that. The general counsel knew that. The people that were delegates did not know that. And the reason why the people did not know that is because the people don't know when council's setting up. The people don't know that they read the minutes in council the night before because the delegates are not responsible to be there the night before. The delegates are only required to be there Friday morning. And because it has never been a requirement for the delegates to be in the General Assembly until Friday morning, that's never been a requirement. And because that's never been a requirement, the question is asked, look, isn't it right here? What do you see? Roll call, and then what? Minutes of the last General Assembly session. That's the order of business. It says right here that y'all are going to read the minutes. Oh, you can't make this up. Here's what this means, everybody. If it's a part of the order of business, what you're telling everybody is we're prepared to read the previous minutes. The previous minutes to 2023 are the minutes from 2022. I should not have had to oppose the waiving of the minutes. Y'all going to read them anyway. Now, Mr. Bailey said, since Mr. Cunningham said that they read the minutes last night, but Brother Lewis, he wasn't responsible enough to be there like everybody else. So since you wasn't there, you may be seated. That's a problem. That's a violation, first of all. And it shows intent, second of all. And it shows that Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Bailey were both working together to keep those minutes from being read. Now, I'm going to say one more thing. If you have on program that the minutes are going to be read, and then you put a motion on the floor to waive the minutes, you're actually asking the people in the General Assembly for their permission. And because I need you all to understand what I'm about to say. Please understand what I'm about to say. Every person inside the General Assembly has the same amount of power. I'm going to say this again. Every person inside of the General Assembly has the same amount of power. No one has any authority over anybody inside the General Assembly. And the reason why is because the General Assembly acts and serves as a board of directors for the organization. The body of people who select and pick a CEO, that is the group that's acting as a board of directors. The General Counsel does not pick a CEO. Well, they do behind closed doors, illegitimately. But according to the Constitution, they don't pick the CEO. The people do. The people do. Now, when Mr. Cunningham said, I wasn't there the night before, when Mr. Bailey said I should have been there, I had a choice to make. I can either, take my stand now and speak out so that everybody understands what's going on and try to force them to read the minutes. Or I could just let this slide, let it go ahead and sit down, because none of the members of the organization understands what's going on right now. None of these individuals are going to understand what I'm doing if I speak, it looks like, against Mr. Bailey and Mr. Cunningham. Everybody is going to think I have completely lost my mind, because everybody just serves and does whatever the bishop wants and whatever the General Assembly secretary says. So the problem is they don't know. So let me go through the rest of 2023. I took my seat and waited for the next opportunity to call a point of order. Now, again, one more point I want to make. They said we want to waive the reading of the minutes except the open and the closing for sake of time. We want to save time and not take up so much time, because it's going to be drawn out, right, to hear all the minutes being read. The problem with that is the people were expected to be there since 9 o'clock. But the Mr. Bailey didn't get there until 10, 11, 12, 1, 4 hours and 15 minutes later. Now, they had the roll call around noon. In fact, prior to that. But he was not there either. So the point is, he was not on the premises at all. Lastly, the members that were delegates in the building, they knew that they weren't required to be there the night before to be in council to hear the minutes. No one's required to be there. Therefore, I was not irresponsible. Mr. Bailey made it up. He made me appear to be irresponsible, negligent, and as if I was a problem by not doing what I'm supposed to do. He said if everybody else can get there and represent their congregation the way they're supposed to, then you should have been there to represent yours. So because you were not responsible and you showed irresponsibility, then no, I'm not going to give you your request. Again, the insults. Okay, I took it. And everybody in there is witnessing. In my mind, we're going to come back to this. That's what I thought in the General Assembly. This is done when I took my seat and waited for the next opportunity to call point of order. This is done in any meeting to bring attention to the fact that there's something that you would like to add, discuss, suggest, or advise to an issue that the members may want or need to look into. So when Mr. Bailey asked what the next order of business was, Mr. Cunningham said they needed to vote for a General Assembly secretary for the next year. I was confused because the last order of business in the General Assembly is to vote for the secretary for the upcoming year. That means that nothing's going to be discussed and no further comments will be made prior to dismissing. That means y'all had roll call. Y'all saw the CEO arrive. We had a motion on the floor to waive the reading of the minutes. I wanted to hear the minutes. They didn't allow the minutes to be read. I had to take my seat. And now they're saying, remember, you waive the minutes to save time. So then I'm directed to take my seat. And then what we hear is the next order of business is to elect the General Assembly secretary before we dismiss. Wait a minute. Y'all didn't want to read the minutes from last year to save time, but now we're getting ready to elect the General Assembly secretary, which takes 5 minutes, and then we're going to dismiss? We're not getting nothing done? We're not doing nothing? All these people paid all this money and took time away from their families and their jobs to come here every single year to sit here and do what? And we did the same thing this year for us to do nothing? I'm sitting back watching. And so I was confused. Mr. Bailey opened the floor for anyone to nominate anyone to be the General Assembly secretary for next year. But then he added, before we open the floor for nominations, he said he's pleased with the current General Assembly secretary, Pastor Cunningham. I'm pleased with him. I don't have any problem out of him. I like what he did, and he did a good job last year. Clap your hands for him. Now, when he does that, he's setting him up. That's his indication to people on the council, because remember, they're the ones going to nominate him. He's setting it up for them to put him right back. Sure enough, without fail, someone came up and nominated him again. And the floor was closed for nominations on the one said name. His name is there. Close the floor. He's going to be the man. So the floor was open for the assistant general secretary. Mr. Bailey said he was pleased with him. I find no issues with him. He did a beautiful job working along with Mr. Secretary last year. Clap your hands for him. Clap, 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 clap. He was nominated right back. This is a cue. This is him sending a signal to the general counsel right up here in the front. Y'all put them men back, right back there where I want them. They're doing this right in front of the eyes of the people, and the people are none the wiser, don't have a clue what's going on, because these men have hijacked the assembly, including the one sitting up in that chair. That's what all the facts and the documentation look like. And if I'm correct, people may be making a determination to come in here and confirm everything that I'm saying. If I'm wrong, you all will hear from them that I was wrong. But if I'm right, which the paperwork, it's all there. I'm saying this because I cannot conclude this. They have to. People from outside got to come in here and say that this is the case. Only then can they do something to change it. I can't do anything to change this. The members of the organization got to change it in the General Assembly. And the bishop and the council and the General Assembly secretary, they all know that this cannot be fixed outside the General Assembly unless someone comes in from outside. So they both remain General Assembly secretary and the assistant. Mr. Bailey allows space for the general counsel to come forward. And they took time to sing him a song to honor his 15-year anniversary as the bishop. Inside the General Assembly. The General Assembly is supposed to be for business, not singing a song and a dance to the bishop. We come to a return. None of that stuff. This is how you know this is all for show. It's all for show. And we're sitting here listening to this group of men getting up singing, the general counsel in their black suits and their white gloves, led by the General Assembly secretary. Congratulations for your 15 years and this and that and the other. And no business getting done. And no, we don't want to hear anything from that man right there, Mr. Lewis, about last year, because that's been done already. You're about to expose us. Sit down, be quiet, mum's the word, while they orchestrate everything to keep the members from the know. So I'm sitting back, my wife there. I'm just waiting. Okay. Before they came up to sing their song, Mr. Bailey said he would consider allowing anyone that would like to ask questions or comment on anything pertinent to the General Assembly or the Constitution. Now we're getting somewhere, and I'm excited. I'm going to ask my question. I'm going to get up on that floor. We're going to get to the bottom of this, especially after Mr. Bailey did what he could to humiliate me by saying earlier, what's that young man's name? He knew my name. Isn't that young man from Texas, out there in that town in Texas? Yes, sir, Brother Lewis, sir. Yes, Brother Lewis. I remember him. Yeah. That house out there, I had to close. I almost corrected him. He said that to get the people to find fault in me, as if he had to close the house of prayer that I established in San Antonio, Texas. But the problem was, and I was about to correct him on this, he never closed San Antonio, Texas. I still have the paperwork and the lease, and he forgot that I wrote him a letter asking him if I could close it because the members were so fed up with Sister Regina Walls, the sister-in-law to Apostle Swearinger, who had created problem after problem after problem in our congregation, who had also messed up the mind of our secretary, the daughter of missionary Payne out of Hampton, Virginia, who came there because the Spirit told her to come there because she said I was the only one that taught her what it means to be a woman in the Lord, in Christ. And when she came, she had no clue what to expect. Sister Walls, Regina Walls, invited her into her home, took her out to restaurants for dinner, would cater to her while filling up her ear with all this stuff, lies, complete lies about me and the members of San Antonio, Texas. Long story short, her husband was not aware of it. Her sons was not aware of it. They had no clue. But Mr. Swearinger, that was the pastor out there in Los Angeles, he had worked with Mr. Sudler, Apostle Sudler, Dallas, Texas, and they had manipulated our secretary at that time, Sister Harris, Siobhan Harris. Innocent, had no clue what was going on. Those four individuals, those three individuals had manipulated her, had her in meetings, telling them all kinds of lies about me, and then had her go and knock on the hotel door of Mr. Bailey when he was in town to feed him lies from them. Now, mind you, three buses that came out the following year for convocation, they sat there and they watched Sister Harris run out of council screaming, Elder Lewis, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. They're setting you up. They're setting you up. Can you all hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So she came out screaming, Elder Lewis, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. They're setting you up. They're setting you up. And in front of everybody, we're in the cafeteria. My mother was there, all the members of San Antonio, the members from Washington and other places was there to see her yelling and screaming, saying that the council's setting me up. I walked her outside to save her embarrassment, and she poured out everything, how they had came to her, lied to her, told her what to say in the court, told her what to say to Mr. Bailey. Um, uh, and they had used the information that Regina Walls had told her while they're in San Antonio over a 6-month period. She was taking her out, spending all kinds of money on her, and befriended her to give her sob stories and lies about me. Completely messed her up. Broke down on my shoulder. I listened. I understand, but why would you go and tell him if you knew that you had not seen any of these things? I didn't know. They were so convincing. Listen, okay, look, I get it. Don't worry about it. No harm. I can take care of this. I will take care of this. But are you sure they've already? Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. We went back to San Antonio. We're like this again. But the chairman continued. And then the new chairman, Apostle Scott, who replaced him, he came to intentionally cause more problems because he wanted me to raise $10,000. And I told him I'm not going to do that. I'm not pushing a pan in front of these members. These are brand new people coming in the house of prayer. I'm not about that. I'm not pushing no G class and love gift. We raised G class and love gift, but it's from people who just wanted to give it. I'm not pushing you. So I told them, if we get 10,000, we get 10,000. If we get 100, we get 100,000. If we get 1,000, then that's all we're going to get. And that's what I'm going to give. He went back with the intent of sitting down with the council and doing whatever is necessary to get me shut down. The council worked hard to cause all kinds of problems for the members of San Antonio. And the members continued trying to work along with me. Many of them were breaking down in tears, wondering what in the world's going on. These are supposed to be holy men. The members of the house of prayer are treating them like whatever. But from the top, we would travel, and the members around the organization, they fellowship with them, and everybody was hunky-dory. They loved it. But from that council, problem after problem after problem. So Mr. Bailey said I had to close it. He didn't have to close San Antonio. The members, one at a time, eventually stopped coming, and they kept in touch with me. I'm still in contact with several of the members of San Antonio. Some of y'all heard some of them on the video last year. Some of y'all heard the same story from them. While you didn't know that council works behind the scene to tear stuff down, and the bishop working behind the scene to lie on people in the open to turn you all against them. So in the General Assembly, he lied and said he had to close the house down. He never closed it. I asked if I could turn the lease, now paying almost $900 a month out of my pocket, because the members want nothing else to do with him and the council and Sister Walls. That's what happened in San Antonio. And it took 4 years for them to do what they did before the members got fed up. They got sick and tired, and they said, this can't be no man of God who's telling lies, who's lying on our pastor, who's lying to the organization. These can't be no men of God on the general council who's lying to us and lying to everybody else who has a woman here, their relative, to cause problem after problem after problem after problem. I sat back all this time not telling you all anything because the bishop had made my name mud throughout the entire organization. But now I sat back just collecting evidence. And even then, I had no idea that Mr. Bailey was in on this along with Mr. Cunningham. Mr. Cunningham was setting me up with Mr. Bailey, lying to him with the council for 2.5 years to turn Mr. Bailey against me. So now that we're in 2023, General Assembly, I was about to correct him as I put here in my minutes, but I stopped. I reconsidered. No, I'm not going to correct him because the members don't know anything about that. So I simply said, for everybody that was there, you heard me say, San Antonio, sir. And I left it right there. I let the people think that he shut down the house when he did not. And I knew that the people who's witnessing this today, in my mind, I was already planning. I'm going to come back a year from now, and we're going to get this straight. But the members of 2023, everybody in there would be my witnesses. So now, when he asked if there's anybody that would like to say anything or ask anything. I raised my hand. He said, is that same young man that wanted to hear the minutes? Pastor Cunningham, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I said, yes, it is. He said, take him to the side. Talk to him over there, Mr. Secretary and Assistant, and see if what he has to say is pertinent to the Constitution. If it is, I will let him speak. If it's not, then we'll go another way. Now, mind you, that's a violation. You can't tell somebody to go and stand on the side and have a conversation with somebody to see if it's pertinent to the Constitution. They're supposed to come to the mic. But I stood to the seat because I needed everybody in the auditorium to see what's taking place. I wanted them to see him violate the law. I wanted them to see Mr. Cunningham violate the laws. I knew in my mind, I'm going to refer back to this date. So what I did, I went and I held the Constitution in my hand when I got up. And when I walked over there, I held the Constitution way up in the air. I held it up so everybody could see the Constitution as I walked over to where he was. I wanted them to see it in my hand. And then while we were talking, I took the Constitution in front of everybody in the corner and I opened it up and I pointed and I asked him, what's that say right there? What's that say? And Mr. Cunningham read it out loud. What's that say? Okay. Okay. So what? Okay. What's that say? What does that say? Right there. What's that? And then I pointed and I pointed and I pointed. And then I told him, I said, right here, y'all messed up. You messed up. What are you talking about? We messed up. The date right there, printed in the back of the book. Okay, that's the date that we had the General Assembly last year. Exactly. That's the date. He had no clue what I was talking about. His face was turning red in anger. Mr. Perry, Apostle Perry, was standing right there beside him, T. Perry. He knew for a fact everything I was saying. Those first 5 pews, I can tell you people's faces that were sitting there. I can name people right now that was in that General Assembly who heard my conversation with Mr. Cunningham and Apostle Perry. I can name people who saw and heard. I'm not going to put them out like that. I'm not going to name their names on here. Pastors, elders, and sisters within those first 5 rows, I was talking loud enough, and I made sure Mr. Cunningham talked loud enough so that they can hear our conversation. And he tried to walk off 2 times. I said, no, I'm not done yet. What is it? He came back. I said, okay, now, what's this say right there? Had him read that. Okay, we're not going to do this. Hold on. We're not going to do what? We're not going to do this. I said, we're not done. He said, you need to hear what I have to say to see if it's pertinent. Right? Let's see. What does that say? And I kept pointing to the Constitution, asking him to read it because I was setting him up. I wanted him to read the Constitution from the book in front of everybody. And then I told him that the dates don't line up. What do you mean? The dates don't line up. This shows that y'all deceived everybody in this organization, you and Mr. Bailey. We're not doing this. And he walked off. I said, okay, really? He kept walking. Mr. Cunningham, Apostle Cunningham, come on now. Apostle Cunningham, really? The people right now watching this who sat there, I can name about a good 15 of you. They know that what I'm saying is true. Mr. Cunningham walked back on the floor. Mr. Bailey, in fact, I have the minutes. Somebody else's minutes. And let me pull their minutes up. Here we go. So this person may be watching right now, and I'm going to go down to that part where Mr. Bailey questioned Mr. Cunningham. Okay. It says here, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just read it. Y'all know it's here. Let me blow this up. In reference to the concern of Elder Lewis, Mr. Bailey stated that sometimes he may entertain pertinent information if it's related to the General Assembly. The ad asked if there were any representatives that had something pertinent for the General Assembly to hear, to include proposals or concerns. He instructed the secretary and attorney to speak with Elder Lewis to determine whether his concern was pertinent to the General Assembly. That explained procedure to submit proposals to the General Assembly. He stated the first speak with your state committee, talked about blah, blah, blah. Okay, the General Assembly secretary and attorney spoke to Elder Lewis and reported that his concern was not pertinent to the General Assembly. They went back and reported that my concern was not pertinent to the General Assembly. Mr. Cunningham said that I had nothing that was pertinent to the General Assembly. And those persons over in that section, I saw them whispering to each other. Oh, he lied. And some of them was looking at each other and covered up their mouths. And he lied again. And he lied again. And he lied again and again and again. And then Mr. Bailey said, while I'm behind Apostle Cunningham, every time he said yes, I said, nope, nope, so that everybody in the auditorium would see me. I wanted to make a spectacle for them to put it in their minutes. And every time he said no, I said yes, yes, yes. Mr. Bailey was trying to keep from laughing. My wife was praying. He then asked Mr. Cunningham, stand to the side, let the assistant get the mic. And he asked him, Mr. T. Perry, did he have anything to say pertinent to the Constitution? No, he said, do you think he understood what it was that y'all talked about? Do you think he understood? He said, yes. And then Mr. Cunningham grabbed the mic and whispered in his ear. And everybody that was there saw this when he whispered in his ear. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Apostle Perry said I misspoke. He said, no, sir, he did not understand. I said, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And every time he said yes, I said, nope, nope, nope. And people were snickering, laughing. Now, mind you, no business was getting done. None. So why am I going into this detail? Because I'm trying to show everybody that at that moment, Mr. Bailey knew he had to keep me off the floor. Mr. Cunningham knew he had to keep me off the floor. Lewis is about to blow the roof off and let everybody in here know what's going on. And they had to get me out of that room without the people hearing directly from me. That's what happened. And now the person who wrote these minutes, they said Ad asked Elder Lewis whether he was in agreement. Elder Lewis stated he was not satisfied. No, I'm not in agreement. No, what I have to say is pertinent to the Constitution, and you know it is. Now, I didn't say that. I simply said, no, sir, I'm not in agreement. I need everybody in here to see what's going on right now. I'm the only one going back and forth with the secretary, Mr. Cunningham, and going back and forth with the bishop. I know people in there thought I lost my mind. No, y'all don't know what's going on. I'm trying to expose them, and they're covering it up. And they know that they're keeping you all in the dark. Why? Because the members of the House of Prayer are just a bunch of dumb, ignorant, stupid people who can't think for themselves. That's what they think of all of us, that we're dumb, ignorant, and stupid, and we can't think for ourselves. And so they do all these things right in front of our eyes. No, today, I'm not satisfied. So then he gave the order. Let me read it so y'all hear somebody else's minutes. He asked that the judge arrange a meeting with him and Elder Lewis downstairs. And that was how Mr. Bailey got me out of the General Assembly of 2023, so that I would not bring forward all this information to expose him and Mr. Cunningham for violating our laws, for manipulating the organization, for deceiving everybody in here. Now, Mr. Cunningham, after that General Assembly was over, did not come downstairs. He knew not to come downstairs because that's where I was. And I was going to blast him. I was going to put him on Front Street in front of everybody. But he knew that because he knows me. So he avoided coming downstairs. On my way out of the General Assembly, Mr. Perry was on his way downstairs. And I stopped him, held my hand out to shake it. Mr. Perry. He turns around in front of everybody. Come up, shake his hand. Then I squeezed it. Why'd you stand up there and lie? Excuse me? Why did you stand up there and lie? I said this loudly. People walking to watch me talk to him. What do you mean lie? I didn't stutter. Why did you stand up there and lie on me like that? You knew what I had to say was pertinent to the Constitution. Why did you lie about it? I didn't lie. Maybe I misspoke. No, you didn't misspoke. You lied, along with Pastor Cunningham. Both of y'all lied, and you knew you lied. I would not let his hand go. I was saying this in front of everybody. He was trying to quiet me. No, we're not going to get quiet. I need to know why you lied. Well, no. Why did you lie? Okay, well, listen, you see it as a lie. It's a difference of opinion. No, it's not. You lied. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I apologize. Will you forgive me? Really? You asking for forgiveness? This is not about forgiveness. This is about something that you know better than. And this was the opportunity to bring this up in the General Assembly to make all the members aware of the corruption and the fraud that they have pulled over the eyes of every member in this organization. And you lied to help them cover it up. He started walking down the steps. I go ahead and follow him. I say, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to deal with this. And then the entire time while we're in the council downstairs, he could not look me in the eye. He kept looking at the floor. Now, I won't go into any more details about downstairs, because that was a whole nother debacle. And I was having to tell some things to Mr. Barksdale and some things to Mr. Lattisaw and some things to Mr. Commodore. Mr. Commodore was a judge. Okay, they put these people in front of you all that's corrupt because they're working along with them to cover stuff up for you all. So anyway, let me get to the next year's minutes so that you see what happened the following year after Mr. Cunningham put himself in the seat. Okay. Now, General Assembly, May 24th, 2024. I'm going to darken this just so that you can see this part. Okay. Just to see that part. Okay. 2024. This is from somebody who sent me their minutes. Okay. 2024. General Assembly was officially called open. I'm just going to read right through by Apostle Howell at 12:15 p.m. Assembly was turned over to the General Assembly Secretary, Apostle Thompson. Mr. Cunningham is now in the seat as CEO. Roll call was completed at 1:00 p.m. Local elders call was made by Elder B. Foster. This is Brandon Foster. Now you notice they're pushing him forward too. There's a whole lot of pushing going on with Mr. Brandon Foster and with Mr. Jimmy Jones. Pay attention. Y'all see who it is that they're working with to set up the okie doke for the next man who's going to be pulling the blinds over people's eyes. The Supreme arrived at 2 p.m. The Supreme, Mr. Cunningham, and sung, He's My Rock was sung upon his entrance. The General Assembly was turned back into the hands of Apostle Thompson. The Supreme stated that this will be a special service because another prophet was added to the list. Now, I'm going to let y'all see it. Okay. This will be a special service because another prophet was added to the list. Matter of fact, I'm going to highlight. Read this part. Okay. The Supreme stated, this will be a special service because another prophet was added to the list. Now, mind you, the General Assembly just starting. He just got there. Okay? He just got there. I'm going to show you how he manipulated the organization yet again. How he deceived everybody. How he tricked all of us. You've been tricked. I've been tricked. You've been hoodwinked. I've been hoodwinked. You've been bamboozled. I've been bamboozled. You've been treated like a gullible fool that you are, just like I have. I was the biggest fool. And they're treating every single one of us like fools because they keep on somehow getting us to just keep on dancing and giving and marching and part. Love gift, love gift, love gift, love gift, love gift, love gifts, G class, G class, G class, G class, travel around the country, back and forth wherever they are, spending our own money for our own food, our own lodging, our own gas. Now, I know y'all don't like hearing this, but I don't like it neither. The truth of the matter is we've been hoodwinked. Now I'm going to show you. He said, this will be a special service because another prophet was added to the list. What's the list? The list is right here. 2024. Remember the letter that Mickey Bailey wrote. We, the members of the Constitutional Revision Committee, recommend one more change to the Constitution. After the 49 changes that we made with Mr. Cunningham in 2022, where he knew he's going to be the bishop and he's making changes. Listen, this is how you know that he knew that there's a probability that he might get caught breaking our laws. Because in this Constitution that he fixed, you got all kinds of protection from the General Counsel and the General Assembly Secretary that even if you get caught breaking the law, even if you get caught doing wrong, even if you get caught doing something unethical or something ungodly, even if you get caught, he made sure that in this Constitution, he's still protected, that the council can get him out of a trial along with the General Assembly Secretary and the senior minister and still deliver the organization right back into his hands, even after a trial, and he still remained the bishop. That's why he preached in that so-called sermon that you didn't hire me. You can't fire me. I'm going to be here until the day God takes me from this earth. And he meant it because he knew in his mind that he put as many protections in this book as possible so that the members of the house of prayer could not easily remove him. The council's working hard. The General Assembly Secretary is working hard. And now he's trying to hold back. But he really needs to get a senior minister, because in this book, those three roles protect him even if he goes on trial for violating the laws of the organization, and they can put him right back in that seat as the bishop. He knew that. So here in this book, where it says bishops, his name has been added. The chief executive officer, spiritual advisor, Bishop Samuel Grace. The chief executive officer, section 2, spiritual advisor, Bishop W. McCullough. The chief executive officer, Bishop S.E. Madison. The chief executive officer, Bishop C.M. Bailey. The chief executive officer, Bishop A.D. Cunningham. That's what he meant when he said in the minutes at the beginning of the General Assembly. They hadn't done nothing yet. He said at the beginning that another prophet was added to the list. He's talking about himself. And this book was already printed up on the day that he walked inside that room. This book already had his name in it. Now, mind you, the order of business for that day was for the people in the General Assembly to put it to a vote, for the people to vote whether or not they wanted that change in the amendments. The amendments to be changed and added to the Constitution. The people are going to vote on that day before y'all even did anything. He said, it's a special service because another prophet was added to the list. Me. I'm telling y'all, this whole thing is just a scandal. It's just a scandal. It's a sham. He was already in there. Mickey Bailey knew he was already in there. That's why she had to write the letter to make it look legitimate. And her hand has now been involved in 1, 2, 3 constitutions, 22, 23, and 24. Mr. Cunningham's hand has been involved in 4 constitutions to unlawfully change it and deceive everybody in here. Now, let me continue reading so that y'all can see the debauchery in all of this. The Supreme gave honor to precious Addie Bailey. God is in control. It's impossible for him to lose control. I learned to lean on Romans 8:28. For we know that all things work together for the good of the Lord. This was stated by the Supreme. The Supreme turned the assembly back into the hands of Apostle Thompson. He went over the order of service before the Supreme arrived. We have 6 new pastors without credentials. The Supreme asked if every one of them had a credential, if they ever had a credential, I'm sorry. And it was stated that some were get up and go pastors, ready to get up and go whenever you say. 3 elders, 2 were processed without credentials. The Supreme allowed them all entry. Roll call. The numbers are the pastors we had 129, representatives 243, elders with credentials 91, total 463 people. There were excuses for 3 elders. Minutes for the 2023 General Assembly were presented, and a motion was made by Apostle Perry that minutes be waived with the exception of the opening and closing. Do not read nothing about Lewis. Read the opening and read the closing. Now, the problem with the closing is the closing of the minutes should have had me in it. It should have said that Brother Lewis's case was to be tabled and continued as unfinished business. That's what it should have said. But they even covered that up. They never said nothing whatsoever about me in 2023 General Assembly, because he cannot afford any of that information to come up. He can't afford the members to hear that Brother Lewis wanted to bring something to the floor, because then it would be discovered that he and the bishop at the time covered up a plot to deceive and manipulate all of the members of the organization. Not only was it plotted and planned, it was successfully carried out time and time and time again. Mickey Bailey's hand was in it. Mr. Cuthbert's hand was in it. Jimmy Jones' hand is in it. Their hands is all in it. While Miss Madison's sitting back watching all this, but she knows that she orchestrated a lot of this as well with Mr. Cunningham. Going forward, the Supreme asked if there is a motion to accept minute readings. Motion was made by Elder Boatwright and seconded. A call was made for minutes of the special General Assembly in October. Motion was made by Apostle Perry and seconded by Apostle Baptist. Opening and closing were read by Apostle Thompson. Motion was made by Apostle Lattisall and seconded by Elder Colick. Now I'm telling y'all, these younger elders, Elder Colick, I'm not even going to say anything. These younger elders that's being pushed forward by this council, there's so much going on, y'all have no idea. You just have no idea. And it's a shame, because I've seen some of these young men who started off with a mind to do nothing but good get sucked up into the corruption going on within these closed walls that the members don't know nothing about. So when y'all see these men being pushed forward to be doing certain things in front of the organization, when these big, large events and those names going up, they're putting them out there in front of the organization, those are the ones you better look out for. Those are the ones that's rubbing elbows and they're doing some dirty business. Pastor Barksdale would propose that the General Council approve those minutes. Nomination was open for General Assembly Secretary. Apostle Wynn nominated Apostle Jones to be the General Assembly Secretary. All of this is orchestrated. Elder Boatwright closed on one said name, and it was seconded by Elder Monroe. The Supreme asked for everyone to stand if they were in agreement with the nomination. All stood. Apostle Jones was appointed new General Assembly Secretary, or elected. The floor was open for the Assistant General Secretary by the Supreme. Apostle Reed nominated Apostle Parker. Elder Monroe nominated Apostle E.L. Thompson. Apostle Gibbs' motion to close on the two said names. Supreme asked for those who stand for Apostle Thompson. A count was made. Supreme asked all to stand for Elder Parker. Count was made. The vote was unanimous for Apostle Thompson. The Supreme stated that Addie McCullough fixed it a long time ago that the assistant would always be on that works in the house. The General Assembly was put back in the hands of Apostle Thompson. A proposal was presented, but before the vote, the Supreme asked if there was anyone that did not hear the proposal to please stand. The proposal was presented, but before the vote, the Supreme asked if there was anyone that did not hear the proposal to please stand. There was someone from Lancaster, South Carolina. The pastor of Lancaster was brought forward to the front. The pastor confirmed that it was read. The pastor said it was read. But here's somebody who's a delegate saying, I didn't hear it. Y'all see how it's being covered up? The pastor coming forward to run defense for Mr. Cunningham. No, I read it. That's not the question. The question was, is there anybody here who hadn't heard it? You have a delegate that's inside the building saying that I haven't heard this proposal. Right there, just like the proposals of 22, they weren't proposals or recommendations. It should have been postponed and waited a whole nother year. But no, they couldn't wait. You know why? Because Mr. Cunningham knew that they already had it in the constitutions that's pre-printed and waiting to be sold. He did the exact same thing all over again for the fourth time. Printed the constitutions without the people's votes, without the people's consent, without the people's approval, and lied again in the back of that constitution as the bishop, just like the last bishop, lied, saying that I'm certifying that the information in this book is true, that the General Assembly revised and amended this constitution. They both know it was a lie. Mr. Cunningham, as the bishop now, knows that it's a lie. So we have a lying bishop again. Other bishops have lied. Several times, I've shown in recordings, Mr. Cunningham lied, even from the bishop's office. Let's continue. A member from Charleston, South Carolina, did not hear the proposal. He stated the proposal was not received. They didn't even get it. The Supreme asked why he didn't contact the office. He stated that the mail was late and it was never received. The Supreme stated that there should be a proposal committee and any proposal should be received by March 15th. He also stated that the congregation should let the reps know how to vote if there are any concerns. That's why it should be read to the congregations. This is wrong. That's completely not true at all. A proposal is not to be read to the congregation so that the congregation can tell the representative how to vote for it. That's not the way it happened. Listen, for those of you who don't understand this, let me make this as simple, as easy as possible. When a bill is written up in Congress, it goes first through the House of Representatives, and the House of Representatives, they vote on that bill. If there are more members in the House of Representatives that are against it than who's in favor of it, then the House of Representatives, they kill it. It will never, ever go before the Senate. If the House of Representatives does not vote to approve of a bill is what's written to hopefully become a law, but it's got to go through the House of Representatives, then it has to go through the Senate. If it does not make it through the House of Representatives, if they vote against it, they can kill it right there. It won't even go forward to the Senate. The Senate will never even read it. They'll never even get it because the House of Representatives killed it. But if they approve of a bill, then that bill, if there's 5 bills, they vote on each one. One bill, if it's approved, that one bill goes to the Senate. If the four other bills are voted against, then the Senate will never get it. They will never get those four bills. That's how it's supposed to be done in here. When the local congregations sees a proposal, that's all it is. It's something being proposed to the members of the organization. It's not something being proposed at the General Assembly. Mr. Cunningham is lying to get you all to believe that that's the process and the procedure, but it's not. The members, when they vote against a proposal, then what that House puts on record is that we do not want this proposal to be admitted into the General Assembly. And out of all the houses in the organization, if there's more than 50% of the congregations that vote against the proposal, then a notice is supposed to go out to let them know that the proposal did not make it to the General Assembly because the majority of the congregations voted against it, and then it's thrown out. It's never supposed to be admitted onto the floor of the General Assembly without what's called due process. But the General Assembly secretary, they've been putting it there anyway, without hearing from the people. So when people from outside regulating agencies come in and see this process, then you will hear from them exactly what I'm telling you. It should have never been there in the first place. Let's continue. Proposals should be read to the congregation. The Supreme stated that everyone should have a copy in front of them. He also stated that this is serious and we should go by our own rules. Wait a minute. We all should go by our own rules, including you. But the problem is the bishops are not going by the rules. The members going by the rules, even though the members don't know that the rules are invalid. The rules are null and void because the rules have been put there unlawfully. So he's saying we should go by our own rules. The Supreme turned the General Assembly over to Sister M. Bailey to read the proposal regarding adding Mr. Cunningham to the bylaws. He went forward anyway. He should have said, after this member from South Carolina said, we never even received the proposals, boom, we're going to postpone this until next year. But he didn't. He had Miss Mickey Bailey come out, read the proposal. He had no choice but to go forward. Why? Because it was already added to the Constitution unlawfully without anybody knowing. And that's why in the beginning of the General Assembly, he said, another prophet has been added to the list, pointing at himself. I'm telling you all, people, the whole organization has been duped. And the same man that sat there in that seat on that day, acting like some prophet of the Creator, knowing that he's lying to everyone, knowing that he's deceived everyone, knowing that he's manipulated everybody for the last 18 years, knowing that he's kept the secrets of Mr. Bailey and Miss Madison, knowing that they have been deliberately conning everybody in here all this time, is telling you all that he's a prophet. Why? Because that's how it continues. That's how the organization goes forward. As long as the people believe in that man, then the people are going to continue jumping through hoops, which is why they keep calling us stupid and they call us dumb and ignorant. Let's go on. Look at this. The Supreme stated that he had nothing to do with the proposal. It came from the body. Come on. Come on. Come on. Y'all believe this? That Mr. Cunningham, who for the last 18.5 years was manipulating the Constitution, knowing that nobody out there on that Constitution Revision Committee knew that he going to be the bishop, he had nothing to do with that proposal, putting his name in that. Come on, y'all. Come on now. Come on. Come on. The lies. The lies. There's a songwriter said, tell me lies, tell me lies, tell me beautiful lies. Something like that. But the lies. Ah, look, he said he had nothing to do with the proposal. Pastor Gibbs made a motion the proposal be put into the bylaws with the other bishops. That's because Pastor Gibbs is in on it. Trying to tell y'all, y'all got to watch. These men are all in on it. Remember when he said all in? That's because he's all in. The council's all in. Jones, Mr. Jones is all in. Jimmy, they're all in. Y'all are the ones. I'm the one who's not in. We're on the outside looking in. When we should be looking down in the scripture and inside that Constitution. It says, Elder Collick second the motion. This will be added in Article 6, Section 5. The Supreme had all those to stand that were in agreement. All stood. Of course, because they don't know what's going on. He's trying to get to be able to say, no, y'all did this. Y'all did it. Y'all voted. But the book is pre-printed. The Supreme thanked everyone and stated it was an honor and that God is in control. He stated that my commitment is the same as my predecessors. He stated that he smiles at challenges. It gives God the opportunity to flex his muscle, and he is still with this kingdom. This kingdom was founded in America by Addie Grace over 100 years. All of our leaders had challenges. So will I, but I'm leaning on God, and my life is in his hands. I have some work to do. One day I will be added to the list, but he is not in a rush. Mr. Cunningham know good and well that he lie. Not Backstreet Boys, bye. No, he lie. Y'all remember, never said such a thing. I never said such a thing. And I showed y'all on the recording the very next day. He did say such a thing. He did say such a thing. But the lies. Listen, we're going to get ready to try to close out. There will be a return led by the young people. Addie Bailey said it's all about the children and the youth will lead. They will have 100% support. I'm going to turn them loose. The scripture says to be renewed in the spirit of your mind, godliness, holiness. This weekend, work on the birthday expense rally. Boom, money. The birthday expense rally, money. Give glory to the highest. The Supreme asked for a fine. Motion was asked for a motion to end. Motion was made by Apostle Gibbs and second by Apostle Baptist benediction. Now, here's the thing. The lies. I'm trying not to get just the lies. I want y'all to hear something. Because right now, people on their way to Miami so that he can turn the children loose, knowing that he's just waiting for them to give. I want y'all to hear something. Okay. This is Miami last Sunday. Now, you all know that I just showed you documentation showing you that Mr. Cunningham has had paperwork filed, right, um, to put Mr. Murray's name as the owner of the trade name of the United House of Prayer for All People. He's also the registered agent of the United House of Prayer for All People. He's also on a board of directors for the United House of Prayer for All People, and he is a director, and he's also the beneficial owner side by side with Mr. Cunningham as the beneficial owner of the United House of Prayer for All People, the entire organization. Now, he did that 5 days after putting himself in the seat as the bishop. This was predetermined. He knew what he was going to do. Now, I have some other surprises coming up later because there's some people who, before the election, they are aware of things that he was doing as the bishop before the election. There's people who are aware of things that Mr. Cunningham was doing as bishop. He was telling people that he's going to be the bishop. He knew he's going to be the bishop. He was reporting to people all over the place. He was that he's the next bishop. Now, he has no idea that we're in touch with several people and getting all this information, but it just shows the lies all over the place while he's deceiving and manipulating the members of the organization. And now he's down in Miami trying to get people to drive there so that they can throw money at him during these love marches. The whole idea to get the youth, 1,000-man choir, people for these displays and what, it's only to get the people there so they can get in these love marches, to get the people to buy all this food that's going to be turned into the house of prayer, that's going into the bank accounts. Love gift, G class. Love gifts on the buses. That's why he's trying to get the buses. There was one bus that took off tonight from DC. One bus. One. That's why he's constantly throwing invitations at all the bands, all the choirs, trying to get everybody wherever he is to get to support, because all these pop-up visits popping up here, there, and the other, he needs the people to be energized and excited about him because he knows that the lies are catching up with him. He knows. This is why I keep telling the people, stay off of YouTube. Don't watch YouTube. Please, 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 please don't watch YouTube. Don't watch YouTube because I don't want you finding out the truth. Listen to this. This is last Sunday in Miami, and it's about 9 minutes long. And after that, we're going to get to the comments. Listen to this. Happy, happy, happy 99th annual Holy Convocation to everyone. 99 years of covering up the documents filed with the state, covering up, lying, manipulating, and deceiving. 99 years. And he's got to keep on making you all believe that he's a servant of his. He got to keep rehearsing that. The God of the house of prayer, the God who smiles down on, he got to keep doing that. Your job is to remember who you're listening to. You're listening to somebody who will lie at the drop of a hat. And if he lies like this, then he's not working for him. If he's manipulative and tricking you and deceiving and working all these things to put himself in front of people for money, to make all these custom-made suits, buying all these fine cars while you me and everybody else go without doing nothing for nobody. All these people just taking and taking for themselves. Listen to this.
99 consecutive years of celebrating the annual Holy Convocation. Nothing has stopped us. Daddy barely proved that you can't cancel the convocation. Don't care what's going on. We will always have convocation as long as the house of prayer is here. It may come a time when you can't get to the mountain, such as it was in 2020. Many people couldn't cross the state line, but yet the servant of God held convocation. Because it is a time for the gathering of the people to come together and show forth our thanks and our praises for God's deliverance. He has delivered us time and time and time again. He's holding back destruction right now. We used to sing a song in 8 o'clock prayer. I need a little more time to pray.
Now I told you all, he does a lot of hemming and hawing. He needs to energize the people. Raise, ooh, all this stuff is just to distract you. The noise is just to rile you up, to get you to not pay attention to everything that he's doing in the back door, behind the back room. So just pay attention, watch.
Then we ask God, give me a little time to pray. Give me a little more. A little more time to pray. That's what I'm asking the Lord to do for us. Give us a little more time. More need to see the light. And we're not interrupted or fazed by those who don't see, who are making noise. That's all it is. I told you early on in my administration, push past the noise.
See, he's calling the truth noise so that you don't listen to me. He needed to do everything he could to make you all believe that there's something wrong with me. Mr. Bailey needed you all to believe that there's something wrong with me. The general counsel and the pastors need y'all to believe that there's something wrong with me, to keep you from listening to me so that they can keep you giving money and money and money to these men. There's no care, no love, no concern towards you. They only care about their titles, their positions, and the money that's going into his pocket, while he showed them accolades and elevate them and pay them without y'all knowing anything about it. So keep paying attention. I'm the noise, right? Okay.
Noise can't hold you down. You hold yourself down by paying attention to noise. Let noise affect you. No. The only noise I want is a joyful noise in the house of prayer. So we have enjoyed this first weekend. I know I have. I enjoyed it this weekend last night.
And now again, here we go. He's trying to get the people to side with him. Remember last week, all this documentation came out, what they're doing behind closed doors. And I know I've enjoyed, he's trying to get the people, I don't care what you enjoy. I don't care what he enjoys whatsoever, because he's using the trust of the people and the people's loyalty in him while they believe that he is representing our Father in heaven. He's using their trust and loyalty against them to rob them, to lie to them, to manipulate them and deceive them, to take every single thing he can and then discard them by telling them, get your hat and coat and leave. Forget your 20, 30, 40 years of history in the house of prayer. Forget the fact that I know you're telling the truth. No. Get your stuff and leave quietly so that you don't mess up our program. He needs the people to believe in him. I do not care about his enjoyment. And if the members understand that keeping him joyful is not what our purpose here is. Our purpose is to consider him, not to serve you. I don't care about the bishop's joy. I care about mine and his. Let me stop there, and I'm going to pick up after this is done.
And there's more to come. Lord will, we'll be gathering again on next week. Towards the weekend, I'll be here Thursday night if the Lord will. We'll be in service Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we come to see what these children of return will put on us. Put something on us last year. Oh, I enjoyed.
Money.
I'm looking forward to this year. So I'm going to close out with a reading from Hebrews, the 13th chapter. Someone give that. And the 5th verse. I enjoyed the speakers last night.
He just needs to get the people to applaud.
13 and 5 of Hebrews that I'm going out the door. Go ahead.
Hebrews 13 and 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with the things, with such things as ye have.
Read that last part again.
And be content with such things as ye have.
My subject here, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Lord. I'm satisfied that God gave us the house of prayer. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Be content. I'm satisfied that God gave us Daddy Grace, and Daddy Grace told us you must be born again. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied when Daddy Grace left, he gave us Daddy McCullough. And Daddy McCullough told us to get up off our seat, roll up our sleeves, and do something. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied when God called Daddy McCullough home. It was in the year It's the man by the name of Madison. And when he came, I was saying, life could be beautiful if we only walk in the Word of God and stay in God's Word. And when God called Daddy Madison home on April 5th, 2008, I got a call from the senior minister that Daddy Madison was called home, but then God gave us Daddy. He said, give God everything. Put your weight in the trash can and do it God's way. And I'm satisfied with the house of prayer. I'm satisfied with the promise of God. I'm satisfied and been born again and filled with the Holy Ghost and a body burning fire. I'm satisfied with my own life. I'm satisfied with what God has given me. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Are you satisfied with the house of prayer? Are you satisfied with what God has given you? Are you satisfied with God's serving? I'm
Now, I told y'all before, what he does, he tries to get the crowd. And he does that by taking his voice up. Hey, you in here, somebody tell me, I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember, all that nonsense. And the longer the people is jumping in with him, then he wins. It's called distraction. Don't you understand? You need to keep your eyes open. You need to pay attention. You need to watch YouTube. You need to understand how they're lying to everybody, how they're manipulating everybody, how they're deceiving everybody. That's what he needs to be saying. Instead, he's doing everything he can to keep you from hearing this, what he calls noise. That's why he's directing attention to Mr. Grace, Mr. McCullough, Mr. Madison, Mr. Bailey. He needs the members to think about your affinity and your affection towards them. I know y'all love Mr. Grace. I know you love Mr. McCullough. I know you love Mr. Madison. I know y'all's memory. As long as I keep y'all there thinking about them men, then how can Lewis be right? How can he be telling y'all the truth when y'all seen what Mr. Madison, Mr. McCullough, Mr. Grace did? I'm telling you, every single one of these men manipulated, deceived, and lied to the whole organization. And we have evidence to support that opinion of mine. And when you see these signatures and how they've done stuff with the money, but didn't do anything for the people, this is a nonprofit organization. Now, I want y'all to understand his desire towards these recordings. Let me let y'all hear one more thing. This one takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Here we go. Listen to this.
Making the house of prayer look bad like we don't know what we're doing. Don't post this things. Now, let's get back to making the house of prayer look bad like we don't know what we're doing. Don't post this things. Now, let's get back to this. When you are recording, there should be no light on your phone. And if you secure, you see it, get it, and delete it. If they won't let you have it, then you let me have them. Time for it to stop. God didn't say I'll bring you to my YouTube and make you joyful. My Facebook, my Instagram, my LinkedIn. You won't get LinkedIn at the Holy Mountain. Last you wrote to it, if you want some space, get your space around the Holy Mountain. So let's do that so we don't get ourselves in trouble and protect our heritage. Don't sell your birthright.
Birthright.
I say you had 101 and for.
Now, what you just heard was during presentations, Mr. Cunningham told everybody about these recordings. He does not like you recording him, and then these recordings end up with Brother Lewis. He now is instructing the guards to look around to see who's recording. You shouldn't be recording and posting that stuff online because he don't want me to get what he's saying and report to y'all. He wants to keep his manipulating, deceiving, and his lying comments isolated. So when you have somebody trying to tell the people, don't record what I have to say. And then this is also why the members now have to, the pastors are writing a list of people who get in Sunday school books. I still got mine. And the pastors are writing a list of people who's buying the literature. Because he doesn't want people to know what's going on and getting this information back to me so I can report on it. When you have somebody trying to control everything, information down to a minimum, it's because they have things to hide. And Mr. Cunningham, he has a lot to hide. Every one of those councilmen, they got nothing but things to hide because they can't allow you, the members, to know what's been going on behind closed doors. Every single one of you need to pay attention because what he called the heritage, talking about, he didn't say, I bring you to YouTube and make you joyful. They quote scriptures from the Old Testament because the Old Testament has nothing to do with the United House of Prayer for All People in the United States. That's another lie. It's more deception. It's more manipulation. The United House of Prayer for All People has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with that scripture. It has nothing to do with the Bible. That's why they're not teaching, preaching, exalting, or lifting up the Father or the begotten Son. It's in the Sunday school book that they have replaced the Son of the Most High with Mr. Cunningham. The bishops of the House of Prayer have replaced the Messiah and the Father. This is complete idolatry. And I'm going to prove it using the Sunday school book. This is false doctrine, which is why they have as resources, these are all books that the bishops wrote. The Holy Bible, Chronicles of the Modern Day Era, that's what these bishops put in here. Epistles of the Modern Day Era prophets, these are lying men. Constitution and bylaws of the House of Prayer, I'm showing you that the Constitution is illegal. It's invalid because it's full of changes that they made behind the backs of the members of the House of Prayer. From remembrance to return, that's about a book where Mr. Bailey went to the Holy Land. The House of Prayer and You, the Grace McCullough, Madison Bailey, and Cunningham magazines, The Truth and Facts, Are You Aware? This is all books that they wrote. And they're using books that they wrote nothing but lies in as a resource to teach Sunday school throughout the organization. And it's not just this one. Hold on. Look at this. 2025. Look, same thing. Same thing. They're using resources that they wrote. And look at this. I want to show you one more point before I answer, go over the comments. One second, let me find it. Here you go. Right here. This is a resource for the Sunday school lesson. There's a reference. Look at the name. A.D. Cunningham. You're using this man as a reference to teach Sunday school. You're referring to something that this man said as if it is scripture to teach a Sunday school lesson, as if this man received divine words straight from our Heavenly Father, a man who has been proven to lie through his teeth over and over and over again. You have excerpts from things that that man said to confirm the word of the scripture. Listen, we're going to get into these so-called Sunday school lessons, and I'm going to show you the indoctrination. We're going to go through these lessons. We're going to go through these lessons, 2025, 2024, ever since Mr. Cunningham put himself in that seat. And I'm going to show you all that all he's done in this organization was to try to get everybody to believe that he is the man that he claims to be, because he knew on May 2023 that Brother Joseph Lewis and Sister Maria Lewis, 100%, we knew that he and Mr. Bailey had lied to everybody in this organization. He knew that I'm coming for him. He knew that my wife was aware of what he was doing, and he did everything he could to cover this whole thing up. And now he's in Miami, Florida, sitting up there at the top of a service, expecting worship. He said it's okay to worship a man. He's looking for the members of the organization to worship him while giving all this money in the name, he claims, of our Heavenly Father. People, the only thing you need to do is pay attention to these videos, because we're going to be showing you step by step how to perhaps prepare yourselves for what's coming up. Let's go to the comments before we close out. Okay. Blanche says, it seems like all this is for formalities and show, and no one could say it wasn't done. I think the CEO was in the, I've read this. Sounds like I read this, Black Diamonds. Kenny, it's all a fashion show. Yes, it is. Let's spread the word by hitting the like button. Thank you. Kenneth says, didn't Bailey say one time y'all got to hurry a meeting up because he was hungry? Yes, he did. That was in Charlotte. I think it was Charlotte Convocation, 2009. 2009, after he became the bishop, his first year after he became the bishop. He said, hurry up, I'm getting hungry now. Yes, he did. Grateful for it all. Hello. The Lives of Him and Her. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for posting this, The Lives of Him and Her. Black Diamonds, were these pastors, chairmen that were fine? We talked about that. Devona, listening to all of this, it makes me wonder, was the General Assembly placed at the beginning of an exciting national weekend on purpose to take attention away from the General Assembly? I think that had something to do with it, but I also think that it was done to keep all of the members of the organization's mind on Mr. Grace, which is why Memorial Day weekend, they have the parade where everybody march around the streets of Washington, D.C., and go by the house on Logan Circle and salute that house and salute the pictures. It's to keep everybody attached to Mr. Grace. And as long as they can successfully keep people believing that Mr. Grace was the first servant of our Heavenly Father in the United States, who built the first United House of Prayer for all people, as long as they can keep the people believing in him, then they can keep the people believing in the other men in the organization. Which is why they always go back to the founder. Let us clap our hands for sweet, sweet, sweet. So imagine if this went on. You're now at Bishop number 10. They're going to have you clapping your hands for 9 different bishops, and then number 10. Clap your hands for Joe Schmo. Blah, 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 blah. Clap your hands for sweet, sweet, sweet Teddy Smith. Boom, boom, boom. Y'all know how many popes there were? Can you imagine if they're giving credit to all those popes? But they need the people in the house of prayer to remember Mr. Grace because that is their security blanket. It keeps the people in here believing in these men. And that's why they're always telling stories about Mr. Grace, what he did, turned into a tree, or how he went to court and the judge told him to sit up here. He said, no, that's your seat or whatever. All these different things, the Grace magazine, and then they got the next one and the next one and all these magazines. But what y'all don't know is that the magazine committee doctors the people's testimonies up. There's people around the organization that will tell you when they wrote those testimonies, that's not what they said. You got people changing those testimonies. Even Miss Cunningham, Mrs. Cunningham, she was on the magazine committee. Yeah. And they used to edit people's testimonies to make the people believe in those men. This whole thing, listen. But yes, a weekend of excitement, but primarily to get everybody to remember Mr. Grace. Now, when these people come forward, who's going to be sharing things about what happened back then, they're not going to want nobody to remember. Mm-mm. They ain't going to want nobody to remember. And right now, Mrs. Madison, she knows. And some of the councilmen, the older councilmen know. Because there's some people waiting to come out to talk about them too. So I'm just saying, prepare yourselves. Ivana says they didn't have time for business, but had time to sing to the bishop. Exactly. In the General Assembly of 2023, didn't have time for any business. Don't want to have the minutes read. Don't want to entertain Brother Lewis, but y'all have nothing else to do. Oh, you got to have the council come up. They're going to sing and dance. Happy anniversary, 15 years. And then we're going to leave. But you got all these people here from all over the country. They've been there for 5.5 hours to do nothing. No, not true. The bishop did fine a few people and got some extra money. And now y'all can go. Did nothing. Oh, by the way, we're going to sell some more literature. Y'all come up and buy this literature. But you did nothing year after year after year after year. Do y'all see the scam? Scholarship awards, scam. Nobody getting those scholarships. Why are we not giving full scholarships? Why do you have people getting $100 scholarships? $200 scholarship award. That's no money. Listen, B. Mevderman, Devona 9166. Yep, sounds about right. What she said earlier, they didn't have time for business, but had time to sing to the bishop. Wow, right. Devona, they mess with the wrong one now. LOL. Well, yeah, I tried for over 11 years to talk to these men behind closed doors, almost maybe 15, before we did any of this. Black Diamonds, I don't mean to be negative. The general counsel is working as assassins for, yeah. And apparently I'm not the only one. Sacramento, California. Mr. Perry was a pastor. The council tore that up. Chattanooga, Tennessee. They built that house up. He came there one night, Mr. Bailey. That one night, members left. No, not members, visitors who had been coming on a regular basis, up to 45 to 50 people on a regular basis. After that night, no more. I can tell you other stories where it looked like the council was involved in tearing congregations down. And I think that this happens because they cannot afford to allow new people to come in from outside and stay in here, because they're going to ask questions and look around like, what's going on? Look at Richmond, Virginia. Look at what Apostle Taylor did in Richmond, Virginia. And who was put there after him? Mr. Commodore. Mr. Commodore went in there and tore that house apart. By the time Mr. Commodore was done, Richmond was a shambles. All them people that Mr. Taylor brought in there, had a marching band, had the whole nine. Mr. Commodore tore that house apart. And then, where did he go? He went from Harrisburg, he was in Harrisburg, and he was put in Richmond. And he did such a good job in Richmond, he got put in North Philadelphia, and he was made a chairman. I'm telling you all, y'all need to open your eyes and understand. Men are being rewarded in here for doing garbage. They tear people down. They set people up. Those are the ones being pushed forward. The ones standing up for what's right, doing what's right, living right. Eventually, y'all seeing them being made mockery of, being thrown under a bus, being publicly humiliated, being lied on in front of the organization to give y'all all types of negative views of these men. Some of the best. Let's go ahead with the comments. Absolutely, Black Diamonds. Question: can a proposal be amended that General Assembly should be held during announcement, since it's the end of the year? Just a suggestion. The people can get together and call for a special assembly anytime they want. The problem is that the Constitution says that the General Assembly Secretary has to call for it. Okay? But the General Assembly Secretary is working for the bishop. The General Council is working for the bishop. So the only way to get around that is the people would have to come together, and the people would have to come together inside of the organization. And the people would have to come together and call for a special assembly. Remember, I did this online, but I retracted so that I could go outside and call for some people to come inside. So you have to have the people come together and call for a special assembly and send notification to the bishop, to the General Assembly Secretary, and to the General Council that we're putting all of you all on notice, that we're going to take up a vote to put you all on trial. Now, all of those things can be done, and then you call for a special assembly. But it's not necessary to do that. The only thing that's necessary is for individuals to go to the General Assembly in May and motion to have the minutes read from 2022 and 2023. Even if you keep it at 2023, you have unfinished business that has me in it. And that is Mr. Cunningham's biggest nightmare. He does not want those minutes read at all. That's why he's fighting so hard to keep me out and to keep those minutes from being read. If you do that and bring the old business forward, the unfinished business has to be concluded. The problem that he, the General Assembly Secretary, and the Council has is until unfinished business is concluded, it will always and forever remain as unfinished business. And they're working hard to keep it unfinished. Because the day that that business comes forward and I'm in there, Okay. Devona says, Bailey asked everybody but you, was it pertinent to the Constitution? See, I didn't say it. I'm waiting for y'all to catch up on these cues. And some of y'all are on it. So yes, Devona, he only asked me if what I had to say was pertinent to the Constitution. Why? Because he knew where this was going. That's why he had Mr. Cunningham take him over to the side, talk to him. He wanted to keep you away from the microphone. Exactly. Exactly. Y'all are seeing it. Devon, Bailey knew Pastor would expose the truth. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Ariana Lee, yes. Mr. What do you believe? The truth can withstand the test of questioning. A lie cannot. Exactly. Mr. What do you believe? Hit the nail right on the head. I don't care who asked me a question. I'm doing this live. Mr. Cunningham can come on here if he wants to. Mrs. Madison can come on here if she wants to. I'm going to tell y'all something. I told y'all Mr. Bailey had a meeting with me for almost an hour. He put everybody out of the parsonage. Nobody was there but him and I. I haven't told anybody yet what he told me. Mr. Cunningham has no idea. Mrs. Madison has no idea what Mr. Bailey talked to me about and why he sent all of you away. I told nobody. I also haven't told anybody that there's something that Mrs. Bailey did before she passed that nobody knows about. There's two things that I haven't shared with people. Something that Mr. Bailey talked to me about for almost an hour, and something that Mrs. Bailey did within her last month before she passed. Okay? Now, I'm telling y'all, there's a whole lot that I have not shared yet. And Mrs. Madison, Mr. Cunningham, the General Counsel, Mr. Jimmy Jones, y'all already know. Y'all already know. But y'all have kept these people in limbo while acting and pretending. And the problem is for you, the longer this continues to go forward, the worse it's getting for you all. I have truth and facts, and I have my Heavenly Father on my side. Y'all have nothing but lies and trickery and manipulation. And the people are finding out and believing it because how can you not? So Mr. Cunningham sitting there just to try to collect more money, try to walk out the front with those paper bags, and every one of you members, band members and choirs that keep traveling behind him is making you continue to look like a fool. He's using all of those people following him, everyone, to try to trick everybody else into not believing what I'm sharing with you all so that he can stay right there and keep doing what he's doing. Now, whether or not y'all believe it or not, outside regulations, they're reviewing, and I don't know how many days or weeks are left that Mr. Cunningham has to respond to them. But if he doesn't respond, that's okay. They're going to make their determination to come on in or not, but we'll find out. Either way, I'm going to continue just sharing and making you all aware of what's going on. So let's get back to the comments. Guy with the camera, UHOP secret weapon is the bands, choir, and food in that order. Exactly. Bands, choirs, and food. To keep the people coming, we need the bands, we need the choirs, and the food. If you take away the bands and the choirs, what would the House of Prayer service look like? Look like nothing, because not one minister in there is giving you pure straight Bible. Not one, not including Mr. Cunningham, including Mr. Not one is giving you pure, straight Bible. They take the scripture and they twist it to make it mean what they wanted to mean. Devon, a guy with a camera? Exactly. Mr. What do you believe? I've told many lies in my life. As a subject matter expert, I can confirm that a lie doesn't care who tells it. That includes the general counsel and Addie. Exactly. Exactly. Lies don't care. The wicked one doesn't care. I'll tell you like he said, I told a lot of lies. And y'all remember It Takes One to Know One? As I was coming up and working along with, yes, so that y'all know, I worked along with some politicians for a little while, for a few years. Um, Again, y'all don't have a clue. Some of these members of the House of Prayer, y'all don't know what they know. We got people, I'm not even going to go there, but worked in some very prestigious positions. But yeah, told a lot of lies for and on behalf of people. Now, mind you, when you have individuals that can admit, like Mr. What Do You Believe? Admit, I've done all kinds of stuff wrong. I've done this wrong. I've done that wrong. I've done that wrong. That's because they're no longer doing it. For the most part, perhaps, maybe, they're no longer doing it. They don't mind you knowing it. If I tell you I used to be a thief, I used to steal like the best of them when I was young. You know why I can say that? Because I'm no longer doing it. Think about this. Out of all the things that I have said about what's going on with the organization's leadership, Mr. Cunningham not one time has ever denied the allegations that I'm making toward him about the Constitution. He's never denied it. Not once. There's a judge, there's a lawyer. You have several lawyers up there. They've never done anything to come at me to try to get me to stop. Why not? Because every single one of them know I'm telling the truth. I have the ability to call them out. Mr. Cunningham, set up a meeting anytime you want in front of the members of the organization. I will be there. You name the date, you name the time. But I know it'll never happen because he's afraid of having me meet with him in front of the members. He called me one time. It was a bogus call to come out to Charlotte and bring my Bible, but he never did it again. He found out quickly that that was a mistake. And anytime you want to have your Bible while I bring my Bible and we have a discussion about scripture or about the law or about accountability, let me know. Because you keep sitting up in that seat above everyone around the organization as a judge while people call you your honor supreme. It is an absolute joke. And just like I said in California to all of the council, with you sitting right there, that y'all are a joke, turning this whole thing into a circus, it is a shame and a mockery before our Heavenly Father. And eventually you have to know that the best option for you is just to throw in the towel. It's getting worse and worse and worse. And we're getting closer and closer to that time where a decision is going to be made and people coming in. That's what I believe is going to happen. I could be wrong. There's a slight chance that they don't. But if they do, okay? So absolutely, Mr. What do you believe? The lives of him and her, the members of the UHOP deserve better. When you know better, do better, members. Please thumbs up the video. Yes, Black Diamonds. I know that was very frustrating for you to read through. The minutes. Yeah. Thank you for your patience and consideration to give us open conversation about the events of the previous General Assembly. Absolutely. I want to make sure that you all understand exactly what happened so that y'all are not hearing secondhand information. Okay. And anybody that has a question about me, my history, my past, by all means, let me know. And I'll come out here and give you all the details so that y'all understand everything. Now you know what happened with San Antonio. Out of all the things that happened with me as a pastor, nobody never asked me. They're asking everybody else but me. The one that would know is me. But the problem here is we believe bishops just because they have the title bishop. And that's the worst thing that you can do because they know that you're going to believe them. That's why they lie so much. Anyway, um, Kenneth says these bishops tell lies like they are not in danger of hellfire, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, it's bad. It's very, very, very bad. Um, Mr. What do you believe? Imagine confessing to a 100-year-old lie. Bishop D. Mattis, she's the bishop, right? Probably prays that she transition. Looks like a great life. But do those involved really have a peaceful existence in this world? Wow, that's heavy. Um, I don't think that they are sleeping easy at night. I don't think that they're resting peacefully at night. I don't think that they have a lot of peace at all. Not with all this information coming out and the documents and the forms and their signatures and all this stuff. I didn't sign their names on this stuff. They signed their names. I just happen to be the one finding it and people sending it to me so that I can share with you all. And the other things that I haven't, some things I can't even bring myself to say is so bad. It's so bad. Um, Mr. What do you believe? Brother Bishop Seaham, respectfully, you can give a better sermon than that. Oh, yeah, I'm satisfied. That's just to get the people to plant in their minds, I'm satisfied with my leader. Forget all the other stuff. That's what he was doing. Now, think about this. Again, the documents were just put out showing his signature on this stuff, but he's saying nothing about it. He's saying nothing about these videos. He's saying nothing. You have to say something. He's saying nothing. But remember last year, he told me from the mic in Charlotte, you can't tell me who I am. I know who I am. And he said, you're about to find out. Said that I was condemned. Can't do nothing with a condemned building. If our father has turned him over, what can you do for him? Putting all this stuff out about me, slandering my name, defamation of character, defaming my character. Said that I was carrying the spirit of Satan. All these things we have records of, recordings. While you're busy doing all of that, now the members are seeing, wait a minute, this whole time Lewis has been right. Lewis has been innocent. Lewis didn't do nothing wrong. And yet you had the nerve, the unadulterated gall in Newport News, Virginia, after I gave you the opportunity to allow me to come and give you some paperwork, and you sat there and did and said nothing, to say that if I came back, you and repent, you would forgive me. What have I done to you? You've done everything, not just to me, but to all the members of the organization. You owe everybody in here not only an apology, but a question to ask them for their forgiveness to you. Do the members forgive you for manipulating them, for lying to them, for deceiving them, for defrauding them, for stealing from them, for exploiting them, extorting them? The list goes on and on and on. We've prayed for you. We've prayed for the council, for Mrs. Madison. We need to wrap up. I'm going to come back to these comments in another video, my comments. But thank you. Please respect the intellect of your followers more than that. Like, the people can't see through, I'm satisfied. Devona saying a bunch of nothing, right, during the speech from last week. And then the band, right, the band kicks in. It's always the band. Come on, band, come on, band, come on, to get the people up. Have you gotten joy? Have you gotten joy? You need to get joy. No, I don't need joy. People going down to the bar and the club and getting joy. People going all over the place getting joy. What the people need is the truth. What the people need is the gospel. What the people need is the real doctrine, not joy. Joy is what got us here by being blinded and distracted to the foolishness and the debauchery y'all got going on behind those closed doors. Let's continue. Black Diamonds, the bishop of hype of the UHOP. Yeah, hyping everybody up. Kareem says, where's the sermon on the scripture he asked for? He said a lot of words and none of it meant anything to help my soul. Yeah, it's to hype the people up, to get you to forget about what Lewis is saying. Push past the noise. I need y'all to push past the noise. Ignore that stuff. Don't pay that no mind. Yeah, so what? I got documents. So what? I signed to put Mr. Murray on all this stuff. So what? Remember, he said, and if this is a cult, so what? It's not a cult in the negative sense. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. Thank you, Kareem. Mr. What do you believe? Please explain to us blackouts how repetition of phrases, cliches, mythological propaganda about deceased men, followed by the divine sounds of the band, helps enrich the least of those amongst us. Boom, right there. Just by talking about a bunch of dead men, it's more psychology. It's mental gymnastics to get the people to associate them with you. That's why I told y'all, this is why, look, this is why he does this. Y'all know that black suit that he wears look like that? That's why he does it. To get you to think about this man. That's why he does it. To get you to think about him. He got another one with Mr. Madison's suit. To get you to think about that one. That's why he does it. To get you all thinking about those men. It's mind games. It's psychology. To get you all to believe in him by using your affection of those men because of the memories that you have, not because they were true men that were sent by him, but because we were fooled under them too. And as long as you stay tricked, he can keep using tricks to keep us tricked. Anyway, thank you, Mr. What Do You Believe? Bimevdeman, the hot preachers ad-lib their sermons, just saying a bunch of nothing. Absolutely, absolutely, all the time. Black Diamonds, are you born of the Creator or Wicked One of the United House of Prayer? That's a very, very good question. Write that down so that we can touch on that another time. In fact, write it down. We can possibly touch on it in the upcoming fellowship on Sunday, if our Father allows us to see it. Very good question. Devona, don't sell your birthright. Wow, right. Your birthright is a house of prayer. Hmm. Mm-mm. Heritage, the heritage. Mm. What he's saying is about himself. He's the one selling it. That's why they take bands and choirs and put them on CD. That's why they take the services, put them on DVD. It's not just for the members of House of Prayer, it's for anybody. Well, now they're doing everything they can to keep a clamp on it because people are seeing through the ridiculousness and the lies and the deception and the doctrine how false it is. Corrine, I wish someone would try to take my phone. If you're not if you're not lying, you shouldn't care who hears what you say. Right. And in fact, other people said that too. You know, God gonna take my phone. And then he said, if they don't give it to you, then give them to me. Like he playing tough, like he gonna do something. And some people, and what's he gonna do? What you ain't taking my phone neither. People are seeing through the charade. Like, how you gonna order somebody to give you a phone? You're not even following the laws of the organization. You're not even following the laws of the land. You doing everything you can to run from this man on YouTube so that you will not be held accountable because you got caught breaking the laws and the rules of the Constitution. And now you're doing everything you can to make sure that you don't be held accountable for it. It's just a matter of time. Uh, Mr. What do you believe? He doesn't want anyone outside of his sheeple to be exposed dogmas and doctrines. Right. Control the flow of knowledge. Explain why you're not a house of prayer clergyman. Exactly. Um, doesn't want anyone outside of his to be exposed to his dogmas and doctrines. Control the flow of knowledge. Explain why you're not a house of prayer clergyman. Um, they will never do that because they know that they can't defend it. They can't support it. Um, and right now, all of them are being exposed, every single one of them. But I appreciate you saying that. And what he's saying, people, is exactly right. You and I need to understand that he's saying that he's doing everything he can to keep it right where it is without it being exposed, which is why he's telling everybody don't watch YouTube, stay off social media. Why are you saying that if you don't have nothing, like Corinne said, nothing to hide? The lies of him and her. Kareem Bratton, 100%. The deflection is real. Please thumbs up. Thank you again. Kareem, they're in error of adding to the Bible. Absolutely. Whenever you talk about that Bible at House of Prayer, um, the something of the bishops, the chronicles of modern day era prophets. It's just the lies, the corruption, the false doctrine. Corrine says, remember the first year of Sunday school books when Mr. Bailey was placed in the seat? Every lesson was on Mr. Bailey himself. I didn't, I'm going to look for that. I think that was 2009 or 2010. I'm going to see if I have that. I'm going to go back and find that too. Um, Mr. What do you believe? They also knew that the members wouldn't believe the truth. Exactly. And right now we have members that's just waking up because they're seeing for themselves. They're hearing for themselves. They're listening to what's going on. All last year, Mr. Cunningham would not just talking about the YouTube until I told him, don't say my name again. You got one more time to say my name. And to my knowledge, he has not said it since. And I also warned the pastors and these councilmen. Y'all too got one more time to say my name. And to my knowledge, they have not said it since. Because they understand law. They know they're going to be held accountable. It's the members that don't understand. And they've taken advantage. Guy with a camera. Did you know my mom, good brother, Sister Simmons, RCO, sister? I know the name. I can't remember the face, but I do know the name. I do know the name. but I just can't remember the face. It's been a long time. And I know a lot of faces of the organization. So I apologize. Please email me so that we can talk more about that, this subject. Also, yeah, well, let me come back to that in another video. Yeshua is king. We're needing to talk about the 3 days and 3 nights. I just remembered. Offering longer than services. Yes. People taking up offering. Look at the short service. Look at how long they're taking for the money. That's the only interest. You're taking a service and your money, calling names down who gave $2,000 a piece. $2,000 a piece. And you're taking up all this time to call their name, to give them a little 17-cent button that might have been made out of paper clips. Who knows? Spray painted on it, put your face on it. All of this is, anyway, if the report good, ain't no preaching gonna happen. Well, yeah, but y'all, I told y'all before, a lot of that money coming in the door is coming out of their pocket. This is money coming in from other sources that the members don't know anything about. And that's going to come out as well. That's why y'all keep hearing these bishops talk about, I'm going to give everybody on their floor. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you have money coming to pastors from other sources, all of that. How's this G-Class program fair when a bishop is given to these larger houses with these larger auxiliaries all this money, but the missions, they ain't giving them nothing? Nothing. How's that fair when you're included in raising the funds for this house, but you ain't doing jack for that house? And they're supposed to be in competition with one another? I'm telling y'all, this whole thing is such a scam. Plead the fifth. If the report be Mevderman at Plead the Fifth, that's the biggest part of the service, the money bag. Exactly. Mr. What do you believe? May God grant all of us who figured out the lie the courage to show our faces in the near future. I pray. Absolutely. One day is coming where people will come forward. In fact, I was just thinking a couple of days ago, for those of you who are interested, let me know, because there's a way that y'all can show up without showing your faces. And you can show your numbers without showing your faces at all. There's a way we can do this. All of those who are in support of what's going on, just show numbers. Okay. I need to give that some more thought, because I don't want anything to be perceived as doing anything to cause any type of division. So let me give that some more thought. But absolutely, Mr. What do you believe? I 100% am with you on that. Romans, oh, wow, he said that. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Wow, it's really getting out of control. Yeah, absolutely. Around at least 5 more minutes and I'm going to bed. We're all going to bed. I want to thank you all for your time and for allowing me to share this with you all, and for your comments. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a very, very wonderful and pleasant rest. And if our Father's willing, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all once again. Take care and have a great night.